Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have character bios and plot synopsis for the issue we're about to look. So we are done with classic X-Men. We are going straight to Uncanny X-Men. The reason being is classic X-Men is done with backup stories, done with supplemental stories, done with everything. So we're just going to go straight up. So Uncanny X-Men 139 from 1980. Great cover here by John Byrne. We've got a polar bear attacking Nightcrawler and Wolverine. We got Angel and Colossus trying to beat up some robots. And we got Storm here being caught up, perhaps Dr. Octopus. And in the middle, we have Welcome to the X-Men, Kitty Pryde. Hope you survive the experience. I think they do this one more time for Rogue. So, all right, Something Wicked This Way comes. Chris Claremont writes, John Byrne plots and pencils, and Terry Austin. Thomas Zakowski, I think he'll letter every issue except for just a few from now on. So, I love this. Something Wicked This Way comes. I love this with Angel. Angel is one of my favorite visual characters out there. I really miss this version of Angel. Archangel was cool when he first came out, but I think for nostalgia sense, I just love, and I love this costume too. Something about the red one here. So we got Angel Look Out, and here, this just looks awesome. This here, all these things. Man, oh man, John Byrne, Terry Austin, great. Absolute great job. So the X-Men are in the danger room. Angel, be careful. You're heading straight for Nightcrawler. By the way, Storm is now in command of the X-Men. Cyclops, of course, left the previous issue after the funeral of Jean Grey. Colossus down here. I'm sorry, my mechanical friend. For all your computerized strength and speed, you're still no match for the armored might of Colossus. And Wolverine is like, it's no good, Storm. They're going to collide. And you've got Professor X here. And you can see Kitty Pryde's legs. Just one thing. So this is a double page spread. And it's pretty cool, except for Wolverine is not... If you take a look at Wolverine, he is, by the way, you can see he is now wearing the brown and orange costume, which, by the way, I absolutely love. To me, Wolverine, this is the Wolverine I grew up with, not the not the yellow and blue. They changed that, so of course he had it. But when I started reading X-Men, it was the orange and brown costume, and then of course they changed it. But by then I was already in high school, so for most of the time I had just grown up, like I said. So Wolverine here, if you take a look at how he's drawn, he's sort of to the side. He's not in the perspective that everything else is. So everyone's in perspective except Wolverine. So you see Nightcrawler and Angel collide, and Professor X is like, I was afraid of this. Angel is badly out of training, and his lack of skill is endangering his fellow X-Men. Kitty Pryde is in the original X-Men uniforms here. Looks pretty cool. She says, oh no. Angel thinks you're Nightcrawler. I knocked him off his trapeze right towards that fire pit. He isn't teleporting to safety. I must have stunned him. He's too far away. I'll never reach him in time. Professor, shut down the danger room now. And so here comes Wolverine. Don't get yourself in an uproar, Blondie. The situation, to coin a phrase, is well in hand. My hands, as a matter of fact. Watch. So he uses his claws to cut up a panel, and grabs or catches Nightcrawler. Happy landings, Misfits. Don't say I never did you any favors. What hit me? Where am I? So, of course, it's hot in there, so he teleports. Man, I wish he'd find a way to do this stunt without making the place smell of sulfur and brimstone. Shoot. So, every time Nightcrawler teleports, there's a smell to it. So, and so he teleports there, and Colossus was throwing this robot toward that area that Nightcrawler wasn't in there. Nightcrawler, where did you come from? And then his Colossus then thinks, it's too late. I cannot stop my judo throw. What? Colossus? Ach, no. Have no fear. Storm is here. As Storm catches him and takes him away. I've heard of out of the frying pan into out of the fire into the frying pan before, my friend. I know. This is ridiculous. To tell the truth, Storm, I'm not at all sure I like your new sense of humor. Oh, and so now she's grabbed by these tentacles here. Colossus, catch Nightcrawler. Sorry to drop you like this, Kurt, but I'll have a better chance of dealing with these tentacles if I don't have to split my concentration between them and you. I have them, Storm. I will even be gentle. So, Storm notices that Peter also is developing a sense of humor, and she develops a thunderstorm to kind of get these things in there, and she short circuits and gets out here. Well done, Ododo, says Colossus. Thank you, Peter. I gotta admit, darling, I'm beginning to think Charlie made the right decision when he named you team leader after Cyclops left. So, Xavier comes through here and says, Wolverine, call me Professor, Professor X, Professor Xavier, or even if you must, Charles, but not Charlie. Is that understood? Sure, Chuck. I absolutely love it here, and you can see his just frustration. And Kitty's like, guys, is it safe to come now? And Angel says here, I know what you're going to say, Professor. My dumb moves nearly got Nightcrawler badly hurt or worse. I'm sorry, it won't happen again, says the Angel. And of course, Wolverine chimes in and says, sure it will, Flyboy. You've been doing a solo superhero act lately. When you've been doing it at all, it takes time to get back into harness. You ain't done making mistakes, bub, not by a long shot. No need to go overboard worrying about it, though. We'll help you over the rough spots. And speaking of Nightcrawler, where'd he go? Someone mentioned my name, he says as he pops in with some lemonade here. I got a telepathic cue from Professor X. After a hard workout, he felt we could use some freshly squeezed ice-cold lemonade. Gather around, everyone. And Kitty Pryde, of course, gets startled every time here. Says here, this is crazy. Each time I see Nightcrawler, I flinch. I can't help myself. I want to like him, but he looks so different. He gives me the creeps here. And so Nightcrawler, of course, can tell here. Kitty's hiding her feelings well, but I know I will make her nervous. I've tried to break the ice between us, but so far nothing's worked. I'll simply have to keep trying. I like her too much to give up. And Wolverine says, nice move, pal, except I don't drink lemonade. Aha, must be why I brought along a beer. So, and you can see Colossus is changing here. So, and so, Colossus asks her, what's the matter, Kitty? You look so serious. I don't know. It's this danger room. I could have been hurt in here, Peter. I could be hurt in here. I guess I'm scared of what might happen. So, as we learned in the previous video, Nightcrawler is turned 21. So, I'm going to assume Colossus is most likely 18, 19, and 20. But it's still not appropriate. She's 14, so I know they did develop a relationship. And Chris Claremont was always like, didn't like it when Cyclops left to join X Factor and left his wife and kid. And I'm like, you had Colossus banging a 14-year-old. So, although I'm sure they aged her up, but she was still like 15 or 16. So, all right. So Professor X says, a healthy, altogether sensible reaction, Kitty. I'd have been surprised and concerned if you weren't scared. But you won't be turned loose in here until you're ready, until I'm certain you can cope with anything the danger room throws at you. You have much to learn, young lady. Gee, and I figure the life of a superhero would be all fun and games, she says. So, if only it were. As an X-Men, Kitty, you'll need a code name, a true, to protect your true identity. What do you think of Ariel? And she says, yuck. No offense, Professor, but do I have to take it? I mean, it's okay, but it really doesn't sound like me. Well, now, little one, we certainly don't want to give you a name you don't like. Let's see, what about Sprite? And she says, yeah, but I better not hear any cracks about people pulling my tab, like Sprite the drink. I mean, and it should be more like Sprite. That's what some ghosts, they call them Sprites. So, but eventually, of course, we know that her name will end up being Shadowcat. But for now, it'll be Sprite. So, and Professor says, ouch, X-Men, I propose a toast to our newest member, Sprite. And Nightcrawler continues thinking here. I hope you will be happy with us, Kitty. I pray you will not be hurt, as we have been hurt, and yet I fear sooner or later you will. Wolverine, I've been meaning to ask you, why the new costume? And Wolverine's like, why not? Professor, got a minute? I've been thinking about my hassles with the government back home in Canada. I know I was part of their secret service till I resigned to join the X-Men. Trouble is, they refuse to accept my resignation. For all I know, they may even have a warrant out for my arrest. If this isn't cleared up one way or another, they'll be hassling the X-Men from now till doomsday. It's my mess. I figure it's time I went home to straighten it out. And Professor Xavier says, I agree, Wolverine. Such a move on your part is long overdue, but I'm not sure you should go alone. Don't trust me? And he goes, huh? Can't say I blame you, says Wolverine. Want to play chaperone misfit? Keep me out of trouble? And Nightcrawler says, why not? My mother always said I'd like to live dangerous. Besides, I'd like to see Aurora again. She's a real foxy lady, says Nightcrawler. So Professor X says, I will make the necessary travel arrangements. In the meantime, I've got one more surprise for Sprite. And she says, really, that's great, I think. What is it? Go with Storm. She'll show you. So, here we are in the town of Salem Center. There's no such town in New York called Salem Center. There is Salem, which this is modeled after. And you can see here they're heading toward Miss Hunter's Dance Academy. So, Storm says, I rarely seen you so happy, kitten. And she says, I love dancing. Up till now, I was afraid that being an X-Men might mean having to give it up. I'm so glad I didn't have to. Look, here's the address Professor X gave us. So they try to open the door here, but it doesn't latch in. Kitty's gonna go ahead and face through. Now, real quick, if you will notice here, from the beginning, she is Jewish, and you see here, she's not just Jewish, she's got a Star of David. She's a practicing Jew here. So, Chris Claremont truly is bringing different things. Nightcrawler, at least during that time, was a Catholic. Colossus an atheist. Now we're adding a Jewish person. So we got Storm, that black. This was truly it was like Star Trek. It was races, creeds, all sorts of stuff. So Kitty goes in, keep me covered, Ororo, I'll be right back. And so she goes through the door and sees that this is why the door wouldn't open. So she's going to tidy up, and then she says, hi there, miss me? And Storm says, terribly. I bet you say that to all the X-Men. I'm a certified genius, my peers are in the 9th grade, and I'm taking college-level courses. Academically, we don't fit. Dancing is how I balance the scales. I can't make my body grow any faster, and my intellect isn't much good at helping me perform the moves, right? Here, I'm just like everybody else. I can relate to kids my own age as equals. Boy, it's nice to be able to do that. And so, Storm says, incredible. Kitty reasons as calmly, as sensibly as Professor X. Yet, for all that, she is still a child, struggling to hold on to her childhood. And of course, Ororo just says, how her conflict, as she was growing up as a thief up in Cairo. So she says, well, kitten, we have arrived. They're whispering. I don't believe this. I'm so nervous, she says. And so, afternoon, folks, you're right on time. I'm Stevie Hunter. Welcome to my studio. And you must be Miss Monroe and Miss Pride from Professor Xavier's school, right? I am Ororo. I'm Kitty Pride. I'm your new student. I'm real pleased to meet you, Miss Hunter. I saw you dance in Chicago before your accident. You were wonderful. Thank you. And the name's Stevie. Some iced tea, anyone? And so now we're going to move to Canada, and this is Ottawa. And here on this little VW Beetle is Heather Hudson. She is the wife of Vindicator here. She says, it was nice of Mr. Beersford to give me the day off, but after all the hours I put in helping him prepare for this month's board meeting, I deserve it. That overtime money will come in handy. And with Jamie away on government business, my extra work didn't cause any hassles at home. And so she's going in, grabbing the mail, and heading up to the upstairs. Now, real quick, I just want to mention look at the backgrounds. My God, if it's not Photoshop nowadays, people don't add anything. And how amazing and beautiful and pretty. And look at this, drawn. Oh my goodness, just John Byrne is a master. He still does backgrounds. He is so freaking good. I love John Byrne. Other people would have just shown one thing here and then taken shortcuts, and wow. So Heather walks in and notices someone is at the house. So she grabs this broom, and here is Wolverine and Nightcrawler, and I like that. And Wolverine says, hiya, sexy, how you been? Wolverine, Logan, it's so good to see you again. It's been so long. You louse, I nearly died of fright just now. Serves you right. Anyone ever tell you you're beautiful when you're angry? You did often. Wolverine, she called you Logan. He says, yup. Is that your name? Yup. You never told us. And he says, you never asked. Now, when he went to go tell his name to Mariko, remember he says, Lo, and then they were interrupted. So this is actually the first time his name is given to anybody. And of course, he never had any last name. It wasn't till, I think it's Hewlett now. But, and actually, his name is James Hewlett. Logan was, I don't remember. I haven't read Origin in forever, so you'll have to excuse me. Gosh, I haven't read Origin probably since it first came out. So anyway, your friend is one of the X-Men, right? Jamie told me about them after you had that scrap in Calgary. This is Night Creeper, and Wolverine says, Nightcrawler. Take a bow, pal, and make nice with the lady. Till I met you clowns, she and Mac were the only friends I ever had. And so, Nightcrawler, of course, does really take a bow. Cat it, Fuzzy, or else. Logan, you're not here to fight Mac again, are you? I came to make peace, Heather, if I can. Good. We three have been apart too long. Here in the North Country, Hudson Bay, there's serious trouble up there. Something so dangerous that the minister called Department H and Alpha Flight. And so, you see here, as Guardian, or is it, I forgot, Vindicator, Guardian. I think it's Guardian, then Vindicator, or Vindicator, then Guardian, back to Vindicator. So, he arrives here to go see what's going on here. So he is, here is Shaman and Snowbird. So, Guardian comes down, and Shaman says, welcome, Jimmy. What's news? Now, it's Michael Two Young Men. He's a doctor, physician. And Guardian says, nothing good. I'm afraid Department H sent the other half of Alpha Flights, Aurora, North Star, and Sasquatch, into the States on a covert operation to kidnap some robot. It says here, check out Machine Man number 19. I argued, I lost my temper, I was overruled. Until their mission is completed, we three are on our own. Your day any better? He asks. And Shaman says, or is this Shaman? I think I've heard both, so it could be either or, I guess. No, my magics tell me that the creature we hunt is nearby, but I've not yet pinpointed him. He says, we've been after him for over a week, Michael. The minister wants to know why it's taking so long. He wants instant results. And Snowbird says, so why doesn't he come up here and do the work himself? I hate those smarmy little bureaucrats. And Shaman says, spoken like a true field agent. I'll do my best, Jimmy. You know that. But unless we get lucky, it'll take time. And Guardian says, I've scoured the forest for miles around from the air without spotting a sign of him. How can anything so big disappear so completely? And Snowbird says, silly as it sounds, that's a heck of a big forest out there. Anne's right, and more to the point, our prey doesn't want to be found for the moment. Don't underestimate him, my friend. He's strong, unbelievably cunning, almost impossible to kill. Jimmy, my mystic alarms, intruders, says Shaman. And so you can see here, they quickly change into their costumes here. I really enjoy Snowbird's costume, just has that, like, owlish quality to it. And then the green and orange actually doesn't look too bad. Normally you see orange with purple. I'm sorry. You see green with purple or green with yellow, but green with orange, you just don't see that combination very more, but it does look pretty good. So, Snowbird outside, found our visitors, but keep a low profile. I want no unnecessary trouble. And so she turns it into a polar bear. Snowbird is a shapeshifter. And so he doesn't know what's going on and who's out there, so he's preparing. And off panel, Wolverine says, hey, Mac, if all this fuss is on our account, what? Don't bother. And here's Nightcrawler. Wolverine, I hope, I pray you know what you're doing. And he whispers, be cool, pal. And Shaman says, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, what are the X-Men doing here? Haven't the foggiest, Shaman, but if it's to settle old scores, they'll find us ready for them, says Guardian. So Wolverine says, shame on you, Jamie. Is this any way to treat the prodigal son? I'm not making the first moves, but if you start something, you sure better be prepared to finish it. And Guardian says, stay back, Shaman. In these close quarters, you're no match for Wolverine's adamantium claws. Let my battle suit's force field handle them. And Nightcrawler says, Wolverine, stop this at once. We came here to talk, not fight, remember? And Wolverine says, don't tell me, partner, tell them. Crawler's right, Mac. I wouldn't mind a good scrap, but this ain't the time for it. I'm willing to abide by a truce. And Nightcrawler says, thank heavens. Yikes! And I love this. The hair standing up as he sees the bear. And I love that he jumps on friggin' Wolverine just. And Snowbird says, did I startle you, X-Man? I'm so terribly sorry. I really am. Oh, my heart. Oh, my. And Wolverine's like, do you mind? I love this. Get off me, will ya, before these bozos laugh themselves to death. Only if it's safe, says Nightcrawler. Relax, Nightcrawler. You have nothing to fear. From Alpha Flight, at least, he says. Thanks. And Nightcrawler questions to himself, how does she do that? And Wolverine goes, you embarrassed him, Mac. Usually Nightcrawler's the scarer, not the scary. You said we have nothing to fear from Alpha Flight. That implies there's something loose in these parts that we should fear. Heather told me there was trouble. And Guardian says, there is. Big trouble. Fill our guests in on the gory details, Shaman. Now, I wonder if this is, because Wolverine's supposed to be the shortest. I wonder if Byrne is, because Wolverine looks straight, but then he looks off. Wolverine should also be facing there, and he should be shorter, because Wolverine's supposed to be real short, like 5 feet. So stocky, but 5 feet. So Shaman says, Wolverine, your sense of timing is extraordinary as your temper. At the moment, though, you're the least of our concerns. We're looking for the family of a Mountie named Joe Parnell. They were camping along Big Moose Creek near Hudson Bay. Parnell, his wife, and 6-year-old son and infant daughter. They were in a remote, rough country, but both Parnell and his wife knew the woods, and they were well supplied, armed, and they had a portable two-way shortwave radio. They were careful people. Parnell checked in with the Ugali station every day. At first, everything was normal. They were having a wonderful time. You can see here this kid sleeping. He was reading some comics, Fantastic Four, actually. Then, Mom, Dad, someone's screaming. What's happening, Dad? And suddenly you see this, here in the shadows, you see someone being grabbed here, and you see then this hand rip through. Tommy Parnell ran for his life. He didn't stop until a bush pilot found him 2 days later wandering along the shore, half dead from exposure. The boy still in shock, almost catatonic. When we found the Parnell campsite, what was left of his father, we understood why. Parnell must have literally been torn apart before the boy's eyes. We think as well that whatever killed him ate him. We saw no sign of Eileen Parnell, our baby, or the baby. Our best guess is they were taken away by their assailant. We don't know if they're still alive. I kind of hope they aren't. This mold of the brute's foot should give us a good idea why. So, we assumed that a bear was responsible until we started showing this around. We've, by the way, bears, he would know that that's not a bear, paw. So, we've checked with the guides, trappers, naturalists, you name it, but no one can identify it, he says. Wolverine says, I can. It ain't no bear, Jamie. It's something a lot worse. How's this for one of your life's little ironies? I came up here to tie up some loose ends in my life and wind up face to face with the biggest loose end of them all. It'd be funny if it weren't so flaming tragic. What you're chasing, Jamie, is a myth, a legend come to life called the Wendigo. And so, Byrne gave him the actual old mask that, I don't think I think this was what he was supposed to get, but Dave Cockrum, maybe forgot, maybe just didn't want to, maybe thought the other design was cooler. So, I fought that monster during my first mission as Wolverine for Department H. My first mission, my only failure. I've been sent to deal with the Hulk. I found old Greenskin slugging it out with the Wendigo. And so, this is just basically a recap of Hulk 181. So, Wolverine's first appearance. If you have it, you have a gold mine. Congratulations. So, if you freaks want to tangle with someone, why not try your lucks against me? And you can see Wolverine hits the Wendigo here, and the Hulk smashes it. And the thing is like Groot. Instead of saying I am Groot, he says Wendigo. And so, Wolverine and Wendigo, Wolverine and Hulk kind of teamed up to get him. Between me and the Hulk, we managed to knock Wendigo unconscious. With him out of the way, I was free to complete my original mission to stop the Hulk any way I could. In the end, all I did was make him angry. We never finished that fight. Mary Cartier hit us with some sort of magic whammy. Instant dreamland. She never got her chance to zap the Hulk, though. Baptiste cast a big spell instead of her taking the Hulk's place for the transformation. When the dust settled, Carter was cured, Marie insane, and Baptiste had become the Wendigo. I was recalled by Department H, and the Hulk and Wendigo escaped. So, I was out of Canada a lot after that, doing my James Bond number. I never got another chance to go after either Hulk or Wendigo. There's just me and the Misfit here, Mac. But if you want our help against Wendigo, it's yours for the asking. Truth to tell, it's yours whether you want it or not. Since you put it that way, Logan, how can I refuse? Says Guardian. And Nightcrawler says, this Wendigo sounds like a formidable foe. Perhaps I should radio the professor and ask him to send us the rest of the X-Men. And Wolverine says, let it be, Kurt. This caper isn't just business, it's personal. Between me and Wendigo and me and Mac, there's a lot of grief between us, pal. Maybe this is the time, the place to, the chance to get rid of it. So, meanwhile, we need our gear. I'll get it. And he teleports. And Snowbird says, "Oh, Nightcrawler vanished." And she asks the same thing he did when she was transforming. How does he do that? So, if I remember right, Wendigo's preference is supposed to be for fresh killed meat. If that holds true, Eileen Parnell and her baby might still be alive. I might be able to track their scent, says Wolverine. We've tried just about everything else. Face it, Jamie, if anyone on Earth has a prayer finding them and bringing them back whole, it's me. I'm really looking forward to it. Love Wolverine with just showing more of the hair and just very cool. Very, very cool. So, Nightcrawler, I love this. Your rent. I never realized Wolverine felt things so deeply. He's far more complex, far more human person than he lets on. Unbelievable, which I think is what Oglablich is. It's nearly midnight, yet we're so far north that the sun still hasn't set, and the sky's so beautiful, like it's on fire. The colors remind me of Jean. It's been months since she died, but it feels like it happened only yesterday. And it still hurts. Few things in my life have hurt this much. Continues Nightcrawler thinking. Look at me, I'm crying like a baby. Dear Lord in heaven, why did Jean have to die? Why did you transform her into the Phoenix in the first place? Why? Part of me wishes that the pain would pass. Part of me prays it never will, for that would mean I would have begun to forget, and such events should not be forgotten. And then he says out loud, "How could you have been so cruel?" Oh, I wonder if I'm supposed to go this way and then this way. So I think it was like that. So my bad. I went to the top. I tell you. All right. And so you can see like a predator effect where he's being seen probably through infrared, and he's taking the gear out of the car. That's that. Time now to get Wolverine to help me lug this inside. What's that? Is someone? Oh no! And you can see Nightcrawler's big eyes as Wendigo is coming through. Help, says Nightcrawler. Next, rage. So, there's our story. You can see it's a lot quicker than classic X-Men because there's no backup story. Uncanny X-Men 139 by Chris Claremont, John Byrne with Terry Austin. Like and subscribe, and I do thank you for listening. By the way, if I didn't mention it before, I do have a playlist. So I've started from Giant Size X-Men #1, which is Classic X-Men #1, and worked my way up. Everything in order. Have a great day. Bye.